After downloading the required zip file, locate it, right-click on it, and choose Extract All. It's going to ask you where you want to put it, and if you want to show the extracted files with complete. I always select that, hit Extract Next. Now, if you're on a Mac, I believe you just have to double-click the file to extract all. Now, once it extracts, you're going to see the name of the folder here. Double-click it to open it. And then locate the typefaces practice.ai file. Double-click it to open it as well. Your goal will be to recreate these images using the specific letters, numbers, or symbols provided. This is to help you practice working with type as a shape and as preparation for your type self-portrait. Now before we get started, let's make sure our smart guides are turned on because those will be helpful. So let's go up to View and make sure that your smart guides are checked. I'm going to click on it. And you can also do that from your Properties panel. Making sure nothing is selected, you should be able to go to Guides and make sure that this third icon, the one with the lightning bolt, is turned on. For each face, you will use a specific font as indicated below the portrait. The title of the font has already been set, but you will need to convert the text underneath it to match each one. For now, each set has been set to the most despised font by all graphic designers, Comic Sans. This way, if you forget to set your font, I will know and have to burn your file per the graphic designer code of ethics. Now, I'm going to show you how to get started, but the rest will be up to you. So let's focus on the first portrait. In your menu bar, select View, Fit Artboard in Window. If the Myriad Pro condensed portrait is not the artboard that shows up, make sure that you have your selection tool and click on your current artboard to make sure nothing is selected. Then go to your Properties panel and make sure to choose Artboard 1 from the dropdown. Now for this portrait, we're using the Myriad Pro condensed font. Select the text box below the font name by clicking once on it. This will select the entire box of text. In your Properties panel, you can click the drop-down arrow to locate your font. In this case, we want Myriad Pro. Condensed is just one of the styles. So click the drop-down and use the scroll on your mouse to locate Myriad Pro. All your fonts are listed in alphabetical order. Once you locate Myriad Pro, just click on it to select it. Now below the font drop-down, you will see another drop-down. These are the styles of your font. Now it's going to vary depending on the font that you choose. Some have more or less styles. For this one, let's choose Condensed. With your text box selected, go to the menu bar up top, choose Edit, Copy, then Edit, Paste. Let's move it off to the side. We will use this as text to play with, but right now we need to convert it to a shape. So with your text box selected, go up to Type and choose Create Outlines. This converts your text into a shape, which means you can use it with the Pathfinder tool, the Pen tool, and the Direct Selection tool if needed to manipulate it. But this project doesn't require that. We're going to keep it very simple. Now, notice how whenever we converted it, it still treats the entire box as one item. This is because it automatically groups after creating an outline. So with your text box still selected, go to your menu bar up top, choose Object, Ungroup. Click anywhere on your artboard to deselect. Now whenever you select, it should allow you to select an individual item. For now, let's select the single shape F. And if you have trouble seeing that, then definitely use your zoom tool and zoom in by clicking. Use my hand tool to pan. So again, I've got the F selected. Notice the transformation handles around the shape. So making sure we have the selection tool selected, or the black arrow, we want to scale this shape up by clicking and dragging one of those corner points out. As always, and important for this project, you want to make sure to hold down the Shift key to constrained and keep it proportional. I don't want to see any distorted text. So resize it as appropriate and move it to where you need it to be. Next, I'm going to rotate this letter around by moving outside one of the corner points, and I'm going to hold down the Shift key to constrain it, and I'm going to rotate it to be upside down. And then I'm going to click and drag it into place. And again, if I need to resize it, or if you need to resize it, you can. Next, let's select the 3. I'm going to zoom out here. I'm going to create this ear over here. With the 3 selected, we're going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to hold down the Shift key, and I'm going to click and drag out the shape to increase the size. I'm going to move it into position. Again, I'm going to resize it as needed, always holding down the Shift key, till I have it the size and in the place that I want. Now to create the other ear, we want to make sure that the 3 is selected. We will need a copy of it. Now, if you wanted to, you can go up to Edit Copy, and then Edit Paste. Or what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that it's selected, and I'm going to hold down the Alt key on my keyboard. Just below it, you're going to see a white arrow appear every time I hold down the Alt key. This indicates that you are about to create a copy of it. So holding down the Alt key, I'm going to click and drag this shape over to the left, and it's going to create a copy. Now to constrain the movement so it's moving in a straight line, I'm also going to hold down the Shift key. I'm going to move it over here to be in place where the other ear is. And whenever I let go, you'll notice a copy has been made. Now with it still selected, I want to flip it to the other direction. Flip can be found in the Properties panel, inside Transform, underneath the Height. And here you have 2 ways of flipping. You can flip it left to right, or you can flip it up and down. But before I flip it, I want to make sure I'm looking at my reference point. I can select from any point from which I want it to flip. In this case, I'm just going to choose the center. Then I'm going to choose flip left to right. And you're going to use the flipping tool quite a bit. Now, you're going to do this for each of the 3 portraits. The process is going to be the exact same. Just remember that whenever you're working with your individual shapes, to always hold down the Shift key whenever you're scaling your letters to keep them proportional. Again, I don't want to see any distortion to your letter shapes. And so that's really going to be it. Like I said, you'll do this for all 3 portraits. So have some fun, and as you use the various letters, numbers, and symbols for certain shapes, I hope it gives you some ideas for your own type self-portrait.